I am Bob Williams. I'm retired from the Kansas Association of Osteopathic Medicine. I was there for about a decade. I inherited Jeff from the previous executive director. Primarily, Jeff's responsibility then was at our meetings to deal with the electronics. Audiovisual had become much more complicated than previously. It's no longer overhead projectors and slide carousels. And it was taking a lot of we were a small office, 2 staff people, and it was taking a lot of time for us to do that plus everything else. So we continued to use Jeff, and as it progressed, he was so effective at it, we just turned everything over to Jeff in terms of the electronics and whatever he needed to do to make it function. So we ended up, speakers who were willing would send us their presentations in advance. Jeff would download them onto his system, so when the speaker walked in, everything was ready to go. All that Jeff had to do was mic them up and explain the situation, and they moved on, which saved so much time in the meeting. In addition to that, because he was at every meeting, the members got to know him as well. It was, he was just part of staff as far as they were concerned, and he was included in receptions, and they would talk to him, and they would say thanks. It was really nice. It was a great involvement. And I think the other thing about Jeff is he is so patient. I have a tendency to get really intense sometimes, but when things weren't working, because sometimes they would bring their own computers or their own posts and they didn't match this or that, Jeff was just able to figure it out very calmly, kept everybody calm and moved forward. Jeff stayed in the meeting room the entire time, at his post in the very front of the meeting room. The only time he really left was when the videos got so graphic in terms of surgery or illnesses, and that he would get up and leave. I would get up and leave because they were sometimes I'm not a doctor and never wanted to be a doctor. So that was the only time, though. He just stayed in the room the entire time and would come out every now and then and get a snack from the bar. But it was that made so much sense to us. So then we began to use him for our office work on our computers. If our computers were down or we were having problems with them, we'd call Jeff up on the phone, and he was very responsive, even when he leave his work and come over and help us out and figure out what was going on with the computers. But it wasn't just that, it was beyond that. He was able to figure out when we were having router problems, Wi-Fi problems, connecting the whole system up in the basement. The wiring was unbelievable. And as I think about it, he redid all of that and put it up on a board for us so it wasn't quite so confusing. And he redesigned our website for us, made it more user-friendly, made it so that staff could update it on their own. And then he also could make signs. We used him to make a lot of signs for our meetings. One thing about Jeff was that he was able to explain situations to us and problems in a very user-friendly way, in ways that we could understand it instead of using a lot of technology issues involved. And that made the process as well so much easier. And again, he was so calm through the whole process. He would just allow us to work through it.